Love yourself before you love others. We all heard that advice before, and I wanted to know, what does it really mean and how do you actually apply that in practical ways into your life? So I went down that rabbit hole, and in today's video you'll be discovering the steps that I found help you the best to become the person you want to be and strive to be, so that the right person finds you and therefore attract a partner that fits to your life. I heard of this quote that self-love is not an obligation, it is a necessity. It is what shields you from a wounded soul. And I couldn't agree more, because I believe that self-love is the most important love there is. It is the foundation of how you treat yourself with respect. It teaches others how to treat you, because we all mirror each other, and so therefore we just are an example. We live an example, and how others should treat us. So it all trickles. Self-love, I think, is the kind of love that trickles down into and has an effect on all other relationships, which is why I think it's the foundation of everything. So let's dive deeper into this. I have experienced that self-love really is all about how much you trust yourself, how much safety you give to yourself, how much inner peace you have, how much you respect yourself. As an example, imagine you are currently dating someone and you would like to go ahead and actually become more serious with that person. And you have that typical conversation where it becomes a relationship, and you have that conversation and this person answers with, "I'm not ready to commit." And instead of being anxious about it, I think a really great form of self-love is staying firm with what you want and being really okay if another person isn't ready, and letting that person then go in order for you and your heart to be full and actually find someone who is ready to commit. That is a beautiful, empowering state to be in, because you know what you want and you're not settling for less. Self-love is also about choosing authentically what's true for you, even though it is not easy or when it's uncomfortable. This has not always felt very easy for me to do, because I was always afraid that I'm pushing people away by doing this. But in my experience, when you share from the heart, from your feelings, um, and what you need as a solution, then that always had a very positive response. And the people who love you, they usually are very happy to provide that for you. And if not, then they usually let you know and why. They usually have a reason for that. An example for this is a problem you have with a friend or with a partner. Let's imagine a partner. You would, for example, say, "Hey, I'm not currently feeling disconnected to you and I feel lonely. And what I need is to like your attention, and is this something you can do for me?" And so you just share authentically what's true for you, without making the other person feel like they did something wrong, because usually it is just about like how you feel inside and communicating that. A third form that I experienced being a big step for self-love is letting go what no longer serves you. And that is difficult as well, because maybe you have to let go of a person you love and are in a relationship with, for example, but you realize that you have two different life visions and it's just not going to work out. Like, one person wants children, the other person doesn't. So there is a clash in interests. And a big step for self-love is to let that person go, because you're true to your own vision. And that is as well an example I went through. I had to see that I can and do truly not want to change another person, because it's amazing who they are, but I don't necessarily have to fit to that. And when I realized that, then I had to make that step and say, "Look, I can't currently follow you anymore, because that is, or be together anymore, because our visions don't align." So as you see, I think self-love is hard. It can be hard. It is not bubble baths and face masks and what you always imagine massages. It is really just, for me, there was this theme of choosing yourself. And choosing yourself, I think, means oftentimes stepping over that comfort zone, doing that little stretch, and just making sure that you always stay true to yourself. And like, I think many people may also see that as selfish or wonder like, oh, she's just choosing herself, but really it is not an narcissistic kind of act or anything like this. It is really important that we make these decisions based on our truth. Also, when you allow yourself being authentic, you allow others to be authentic as well. They see that in you and therefore feel maybe even empowered to do that for themselves as well. Let me know in the comments if you're relating to any of these examples already. But I have more in store for you. So, other moments where I felt true self love, and hopefully that inspires you or gives you some ideas what you can do. So, for example, I let go of a toxic relationship. Lots of up and downs, emotional roller coasters. It was quite toxic, and I realized that this is not what I want anymore. And I let go of that. And in order to do that, I also had to learn how to do it differently, which is why I went down the rabbit hole and learned so much about relationship dynamics and kind of got fascinated by that. So that was why I'm doing these videos in the first place, actually, thanks to letting go of that relationship. Um, and also therefore attracting completely different people and different dates and a partner. So I'm really grateful that I did that step for myself. Maybe you have experienced a similar situation yourself. Let me know in the comments if that's true for you. Um, Another moment is when I felt pure inner joy during a meditation session. So I attended a Vipassana retreat and it was incredibly life-changing. I sat there with my eyes closed and after a couple of days of Vipassana, so Vipassana is a retreat where you meditate for about 6 hours a day for 7 days or even longer. And after so many days, observing my body, my soul, and just being still and getting to know my inner world, I felt so much joy for who I am and yeah, what beautiful being I am. So I can highly recommend a Vipassana retreat if you haven't done that before. Another point is building Nomad Soulmates. Like I started a business and a community and it fills my heart, and knowing that I could withstand so many voices that were against that idea was just pure self-love. I was so true to my vision and going forward with that. So if you have something that you believe in, go for it, dream big. Another point is setting boundaries with myself and setting boundaries with others, really making sure that I stick to what I say, that like what my ambitions maybe are, or my personal goals, but also really, and that sometimes means just saying no to opportunities or to people and practicing that and you can like communicate that in a kind way, right? So I learned actually how to communicate your boundaries in a way that it doesn't attack anyone. And I'm actually going to do another video on like just communication that would like blow up this video now, but yeah, stay tuned for another video from me about that specific topic. I'm curious by now, like what moments do you recognize in your own life was where you felt really proud of yourself, where you felt like your self-esteem immediately go through the roof. These are just a couple of examples out of my life, but I would really love to see them in the comments as well about your life. And as you can see, the theme of these examples that happened in my life really are all about choosing myself and being in practice of that. So your form of self-love could look differently, but for me, that really has been the case. And I think for many other people, maybe you too might actually relate to the fact that we oftentimes put so much attention into how other people feel, but not so much about how we talk to ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. and making that a priority. It makes so much sense if you're currently in a position where you need to make certain decisions that feel hard. I hear you, but know that coming out of the at the other end is so worth it, and you will feel absolutely amazing once you make that step over that comfort zone. I really want to emphasize on that tip. Like, self-love doesn't mean you have to do this alone. Like, find yourself a tribe of people or a person, a friend who maybe has already overcome that challenge that can support you or hold you accountable. Um, there is so much strength in that, because sometimes we just are, yeah, when we're not feeling strong enough, there's maybe another person who can catch you. So the beautiful thing that happens when you do that is that you're creating evidence for yourself that you have your own back. And that is so amazing. Like, you start to trust in yourself, you start to respect yourself, and all these things that I mentioned in the beginning that like help you carry yourself in a certain way. Anything can really happen. It may shake your world, but it never is coming to a point where you feel like you can't rebuild this or make an even better empire out of your life. Loving yourself is also really a source of healing. In my opinion, when you carry yourself with confidence, with like the respect and love you give yourself, it shows, and it is like a magnet to other people. And I guess this is the when we start to also attract like ideal dates and partners into our lives who would resonate with our best version, right? So to me, this is really no surprise that self-love is the foundation of especially healthy relationships. And the reason for that is because for that to exist, you need to give your, like, for healthy relationships to exist, they're based on mutual respect, they're based on um, a shared vision, and they're really based on providing safety. And if you can't do these things on your own, then it really becomes difficult to co-create that in a relationship. And then there is shame. I think there shame is something we walk around with often and never really talk about. So here's my advice about shame. So there is no shame in like desiring, wanting to feel better about yourself, or desiring to be in a relationship when you're currently single. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you or with that desire. And there are two choices really. You can either be quiet about it and sit out your shame with yourself and maybe have some negative self thought there, or you can get some help from friends and family who might help you interrupting that thought pattern. Like, it can also sometimes be just difficult to deal with loneliness and sitting in solitude, wanting a relationship, feeling maybe ashamed about it. That is difficult, but I invite you for a perspective shift. Like, being alone and being in the waiting stage, let's say, it really is a golden time for you to figure out who you are, to build your character, to yeah, maybe focus on yourself and focus on whatever you want to create in this world. Maybe it's a business, a project, hobbies. Use that time to really create a life you love and enjoy yourself. And I really mean that. I actually have that tattooed and on my arm, enjoying myself, because I think that is one of the most important things you can do. Here are some practical ways how to integrate self-love. So the first one is meditation. Honestly, this is one of the things that I absolutely love, because when you're still, that is when you are ignoring all the noise that's happening around you, and you focus on your soul, you focus on observing your body, how you feel, and just that. And that is so beautiful, and it is an act of self-love. Like, this is literally the way how I tuned into feeling incredibly happy, and the source I know was not anything that influenced me, it was coming from inside out. So definitely recommending meditation once a day, or whenever you really feel like it. Like, it helps obviously to make this a practice. Secondly, like, stand up for yourself. Honestly, like, learning how to communicate boundaries is an incredible skill that helps you in all types of life situations, and especially romantic ones. It is really important that we share what we need, what we desire, our boundaries, and so you feel this respect for yourself, and you mirror that to other people. I would always get advice from people who I know have done something already successfully and take on their advice. Um, so that might be in my case right now, relationships. I'm going to my coaches to get relationship advice because I trust their judgment and I see that they have a healthy, loving, happy relationship. So this is exactly what I would like to have in my life. So I'm very eager to reach out to them. So self-care is of course a part of self-love. You want to see if your self-care pillars are met. Like, do you eat well? Do you feel healthy and go to the gym? Or do you give yourself a massage if you need to or want to? Like, taking care of yourself can be simple as like going on a walk and being on fresh air for a while. Something I love doing is keeping a success journal. At the end of the day, I would basically just make little notes on what made me feel successful. And it's amazing because you can just go through and see how much you have succeeded. And oftentimes, I think this is something we don't really make visual. We oftentimes focus easier on the things that we can't or didn't accomplish. Clear your calendar from all the things you don't actually want to do or don't have to do. And that alone has not only freed up my calendar, it also has freed up my mental clutter and just made me a lot more peaceful about the things in my week. Going to the gym or doing something active, I feel like this must be on this list. It is just such a real good um, build up for yourself to see how your body is staying fit, you stay mentally fit, and also it is just such a wonderful way to reset your day or to reset your feelings or your thoughts and your posture and everything. Really, it's like to move your body and sweat for 30 minutes or 15 minutes or however long helps so much in your building up your self-esteem. And I think we're just better humans with sport in our life. Something else to consider is to look at what your patterns are and going into like childhood traumas, for example, because looking at the root, where could that all stem from? And therefore, and this is obviously something you want to do with a therapist or with someone skilled who can help you like work through that, because once you work through that, it may steers things up, and you just want to be in a guided experience with doing that. And this has really helped me to unbreak some of my patterns and actually allow myself to now be in healthier communication, allow myself to um, yeah communicate my boundaries and all that because of the things I know, and the triggers I now know that stem actually from my childhood. So that is actually another really good way to look into that, but please like do that with some guidance and some help. So as you see, self-love is not really about face masks and massages, and believe me, I'm the first one signing up for that, and it really gives you a great feeling about yourself, of course, but it is so much more. It is really about working on your self-esteem and on your personality. Therefore, it really is all about loving yourself every step of the way in your journey, and doesn't matter how hard it really is. Coming back to attracting a partner, finding the right partner really isn't just like luck. It obviously plays into that. I do think there's a couple of things we can control, and I'll share them now with you a little bit. Getting really clear on what is the relationship that you want and embodying that. Like, even though you don't have a partner yet, really embodying, and by that I mean like understanding your own life vision and working towards that. So for example, if you are living the typical digital nomad life, you may not want to go on Tinder and date just anybody. If you are looking for a life partner, you may want to look in other places where there are other nomads and who resonate and value and actually live the same lifestyle as you. By being clear, I think, what type of relationship you want. And by the way, I'm going to make another video on like just dating plans and conscious dating, which is going to be really exciting. Um, but just being conscious about what you want is a real filter for being okay when dating isn't working out. Like, instead of feeling frustrated about not meeting the right people, be grateful that now you have an understanding of what you want and like not settling for anything less. With that, I think is another skill coming in that you can practice and be in control of now is your communication. How you say something is so much more important oftentimes, like what you say, and therefore learning communication skills, and for this I want to dedicate another video as well, really sets the tone for any relationship or any expectations you have for a relationship. So yeah, watch out for that as well. Oh, and another tip I have on that is watching Instagram Reels. Really, it's interesting how I started watching a couple of Instagram Reels on that topic, and out of a sudden, my feed was teaching me communication skills. So this might be a really cool idea if that's something you want to do. I don't believe that it's our job to analyze like when and how our partner is coming into your life, and when I do all my self-love practices, then my right prince is coming into my life. I don't believe that. I mean, obviously, this is what we do for ourselves, and a partner coming into our lives and actually resonating with these, with the character we've built and with our values and with our vision, amazing. But really, it's about you in the first place, and a partner becomes a bonus. So there you have it. I think self-love is really important. It really affects all life areas, most importantly yours, but it also trickles down to specifically a romantic relationship. And remember that a boyfriend or a girlfriend really is a beautiful gift and a bonus that adds to your life. But you want to make sure that the most important person that you love is yourself. In my next video, we will further explore how to integrate self-love into your life as a digital nomad. So until then, I wish you all the best and see you soon.